Is this unit the new absolutely toxic LYON that we've had in the past? No. I actually don't. I think they were so scared of LYON that they nerfed this unit just beyond most use cases. I don't say this often, but you probably want to skip this banner. We have so much to summon on, and they don't give us a break very often, especially on these legendary mythic emblem banners. There are a lot of must summon units, and I don't think this is one of them. Now, there may be some use cases that we come up with, and I think you should know how this unit works. We'll go over that. But this is not a busted unit that is going to absolutely change the way the game is played. Let's talk about what this unit is and why I think this unit is likely a thing you're just going to skip altogether. So this is Heimdallr, and the whole librarian thing they're really playing hard into. This is an anima mythic, and you can see right there she stopped Edelgard from being able to attack. Took away her turn completely. Now, on paper, this sounds utterly busted. Just absolutely ridiculous. But I want to remind you what this unit is. This is an anima mythic. Let's go over this weapon and talk about it a bit. So let's go over Gjallarhorn. I'm going to read this in kind of a funny order. So we have Slaying times Pulse. Inflicts attack defense res -5 and dull attack defense res on foes within 3 rows, 3 columns centered on unit. At start of combat, if HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack res -X on foe, and that's 20% of the unit's res. And true damage, max of 15, most likely will be there. Flat DR, max of 15, most likely will be there. And then restores 7 HP after combat. And I want to read Foresight Snare first, because this is going to be an effect that this unit puts on her allies. On first combat of phase, cancels foes' attack and action. So if someone tries to attack into you, it gets canceled and it doesn't happen. It also inflicts isolation plus no counter on foe through next action. And effect removed after activation. It triggers before traps, or it triggers after traps and before savior. You'll notice Edelgard attacked into Grima on the animation there. When you're attacking directly into a savior, it still cancels the action. If that savior was actually triggering savior, then it would not go off, and the savior effect would take precedent over the Foresight Snare. I know, this is fantastic. You could see this a lot in the map that you're actually winning against this unit, and it's really bizarre. If this unit was on offense, which I was dead certain it was going to be, this would be an Omni tank's best friend. And if you want to use this unit in chaos, I think it would be a lot of fun. On defense, though, most of the effort you put in is into your savior to keep them alive for as long as possible. The exception there is with Elm, and I believe that's what this unit is trying to counter. And we'll talk about who gets this in a second, but if Elm were to, swap with someone and then throw undefended, then any unit could come up and try to attack, but the savior would be disabled, but that unit who was attacking in the action would be canceled. One time. Just one time. The issue there being, we get a lot of actions, and there's still a lot of play to be had around this kind of deal. It's a lot to think about, and it's going to get even more confusing because we have 2 different sets of effects for who this goes up against. What I have listed here is if she's not on Aether's defense, because I made this up from her skills that she was using in the map that we had. So grants Foresight Snare to highest defense ally closest to foe, and that's only if there's one unit with highest defense. So in that case, it's going on exactly 1 unit. And if a savior goes and saves that unit, the save is going to trigger first. And so you're not going to get your action canceled by Foresight Snare. It's not going to happen. We go over the Aether's version of this, as it grants Foresight Snare to allies closest to the bottom of the map within 3 columns centered on unit for 1 turn. So this unit is set up. The 3 units below are all going to have that active. So that's that is a very big difference and makes this more valuable than it would have been. The problem is how many actions we get with these player phase teams right now, and I still think Elm is an absolutely fantastic unit, and I'm not sure we really even get a value hit on Elm because of this. It is a very interesting mechanic, but there are so many pieces to this that make it hard to activate properly, that there are lots of workarounds. Not a bad thing, but I think they may have made it a little too strong. Let's go on. So, moving on from this, we have a couple of things. Ice Wall is nice. We'll see in a second. This is a high res unit. Attack res Aria, we've seen it before. Remember that only takes into the true damage only takes into effect on Ice Wall's trigger. That's really important. And then we have an open book, which is the preference B skill, and I have that here. So Kanto remaining. There's so many pieces to this. You don't want Kanto on a defense unit. You really don't. And so that's already not great. At start of player phase or enemy phase, inflicts on foes within 2 spaces of foe if res is less than unit's res. So units with less res than this within 2 spaces of another foe get exposure, discord, and stall. Stall is actually pretty good, so that is nice. And keep in mind, this doesn't have a range. We have enough units that have extra movement now that this is something that I possibly am sleeping on, but I'm still not just utterly excited about this unit. Then we get at start of combat, if HP is greater than or equal to 25%, you get inflicts attack res -5 on foe. Foe cannot make a follow-up attack. Guard, true damage of 20% of res, flat DR of 20% of res, and preempt pulse. I want to reserve thoughts on that till we get to the damage analysis. Let's go ahead and get to this last piece here, because I really like this Gjallarhorn Assault, which is in the same flavor of these assault skills that we've been getting, but it gives out 50% piercing to allies within 2 spaces. And there are so many different things you need on your unit right now that honestly, piercing is nice to be able to get, especially for older units is really what I'm looking at. Newer units get that, they hand it out like candy. For older units, this can be a very, very powerful support. Particularly if you're talking about ranged calves, it's much, much harder for them to get. So it's something to consider. This is on cavalry only. It's where you can inherit this. So that is a nice addition. Let's head over to the damage analysis. And if this unit also hit hard or got enormous stat swings, then I think she has enough support that you could get her on a team. But a flat DR of 29 is already okay. A true damage of 49 is usable, but combined with a boosted damage of 50, and that's when Ice Wall is going off, I'm not terribly excited. And honestly, I just expected more stats here. They didn't give her a whole lot of stat boosts just in general. These are kind of low. Remember we talked about the thing you want to look for is the stat to hit 100. That's a really nice value, and she doesn't really come close with any of these values. And I mean, you can change around her kit. It's very true, but I just don't love the way this kit works. I'm not. This unit isn't very cohesive, just to be completely honest. And I think a lot of it's because they were scared of LYON. So, I mean, yay for them for learning lessons. But still, combination of the damage and what this unit does. Let's talk about where she sits in ranged nukes. I have her in the tier 1 range, and I hesitate. The only reason I have her that high is because she is so unique. Like, there's no one else does this. Obviously, her nuking ability is down tier 4. Maybe tier 3. I think she's probably tier 3. Tier 3 is probably where her nuking ability is. But her support ability is unique, and I generally give unique units a higher ranking. As far as the anima rankings go, I have her at the top of tier 1. I am conflicted on that. I don't think she hits tier 0. I think Heimdallr is very good, and I think the penalty cleanse is incredibly nice. I've seen a lot of combinations. There's a lot of other 2 penalty cleanse units, and I've seen them in combination with Heimdallr, and I think that's a really nice way to go and a way to replace Freyr. But I still have, Heimdallr has a lot of nice stats and a lot of good support, even if she isn't quite as sturdy as she used to be. Aether is sneaky good, and Oblivion will preach this from the heavens, and I have him in tier 1 over Freyr. And again, that is because the cleansing has gotten to the point where you can replace 2 units, one Heimdallr and one some other nuke that does a whole lot of good things, and not have to have Freyr, who frankly can't hit very hard at this point. Tier 2, we have Arvel with his Refine, which wasn't bad, but doesn't put him up in the tier 1 range. Tier 3 are the situationally good units. Honestly, Aether can still find a place, and we did, way back in the day, we looked at his true damage. It's actually not that bad. Like, it's a decent weapon. He has some decent support. Pomortis is getting a Refine in the next 6 months, and I would expect him to travel higher. Tier 4, I have Duma over Mira, which I never thought that was going to happen. But I honestly, Bolt Tower at this point is still pretty decent. And Mira, dancers just aren't the way. We have so many different refreshes that we can get on units right now, including if you have Heimdallr on there, you can have a positional or a rally happen, and then the unit refreshes themselves. That's really valuable, along with how much threat range units come with. Like, what do you do with that? Tier 5 is units you don't want on your team. And you can probably order this any way you want. This is the way I have it ordered, but Gulveg, Cyros, and then Thracier and Leaf. They are tough to use. Really, really difficult, which is sad because I think Leaf has some of the best art in the game. I really love his design, but that's where we're at. Overall, though, you can see I'm not very high on Heimdallr, and I really would expect a new defense mythic, especially with how quickly they age, for them to be top tier, and this is just not that. Keep in mind, I could be wrong. It does happen. You guys know it does. And I'll post in the comments if I find something that changes my mind. But as of right now, I think this is a solid skip. Let's look at the banner itself. And one of the things with the banner is it doesn't have this is a very high floor, low ceiling banner. Like, there's no units on here that just jump out at you. I do have blue first. Again, Heimdallr is very unique. We have an emblem ring, and I think Heimdallr is the best anima mythic right now. For second, we went back and forth on this a lot. It depends on what you need. I still think Marth is incredible. I think he is an amazing unit and a good support. Just in combination with all the things that are going on, he's fantastic, especially if you have Brave Ecthanir. Ike is a ring. But Baldur's pretty good. Heimdallr hits hard and is a good addition to your team. And especially since, she makes sure that units don't attack into you without destroying your safety fence. For third, and this is where I love Sakura and Micaiah both. If you need a one-off of these units, I think this is probably better than 2. But if you've already got them, then this is rank 3. And we're at the point where Ecthenir is not an amazing astromythic. He's fine, but he's not top tier. And then 4th, which kind of hurts me because I would love Slice with Sparrow, is green. And that's Hathrin and Leaf with that skill that I want so badly. And then I'm blanking on her name. Fallen Ash is what I keep calling her, and I should probably do a better job with that. But yeah, that's where we're at. And she's okay. She's a near save in a very, very difficult melee nuke environment. So it's just tough with her. This is where we're at. It is still hardest to summon for colorless, and it is best to summon for green. And then blue is not doing fantastic, and red is a little better than them. So that's where the everything is at right now. If this unit is your favorite, absolutely go out and get her. But man, this is a tough banner to get her on. So that's where we're at. If you are interested in getting your unit reviewed, we've got a unit review up in the Discord right now. I've got a link to the video that's coming, but go check out the Discord and you can get stuff there. Members, you are amazing. Thank you for all that you do. Take care and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.